Patrick, how does your familiarity with the Seattle Seahawks receivers play into your preparation for this week?
Have an opportunity to play against Seattle, 16 plus times throughout my career. Russell 16 plus times throughout my career. Always had, a unique group of receivers that, fit his skill set and that's able to help him flourish when he is able to break the pocket. Great speed guys, big guys. Had a great combination, a great skill set at the receiver group. And obviously Russell, he speaks for himself. Having the ability to extend plays and put his offense in the best position possible. So we'll have our hands full again with a mobile quarterback like we did last week. Just have to make sure that we're disciplined in our rush lanes, and on the back end, make sure that we plaster into our coverages.
Yeah, I think that mobility gets talked about a lot with Russell. You guys going from Kyler to Russell, but how are they different as quarterbacks?
I'll probably say, obviously their mobility is, quite the same, but you have to have different tactics when you going up against these quarterbacks, because Kyler is much more of a scrambler. A scrambler as far as when he is scrambling with the ball, he does look to throw the ball down deep, but he runs the ball way more than Russell does. You don't have that read option in their arsenal anymore like they did in the past. Russ is getting older, so you want to be able to, save those unnecessary hits from him as much as possible. But I'd probably say that's the only thing, and probably Russell just probably have a tad bit stronger arm than Kyler. But, the skill set level is definitely about the same. Body frame is about the same. Russell's probably a little bit thicker than Kyler, so he's a much harder guy to get down, because you see guys all the time that have him in the pocket, have him around the shoulders, and he just find a way to shrug him off and throw him off. So a much stronger quarterback than we faced last week.
You've seen him through every era of his career, from
Right.
the very beginning to the, trying to sell us on the let Russ cook thing that they tried last year, to everything now. Like, how beneficial is that when you go through game prep of knowing he's not going to be that runner that he was early 20s to what you're going to face on Sunday?
It just gives us that, a little bit more relief knowing that, he's a little bit more cautious of taking off with the ball versus trying to make that big play down the field. Versus, like I said, with Kyler, he's looking to make both plays. You know what I mean? He's looking to, when he is looking out the scramble, if it's there, he'll take it. And Russ is a little bit different. It'll be there for him, but he still is waiting for one of his receivers, to get open. So having an opportunity to go up against Russ for so many years, having a familiarity with, how he like to do certain things, how he's not unstoppable, but like how he gets points at the end of almost every half. He's putting his teams in scoring position. He's always in every game. It's not many games that you have seen the Seattle Seahawks play that they're not in it in the fourth quarter. So we have to make sure that we're winning certain situations in the game, far as before the half, trying to make this team, because although Russ is very, very dangerous quarterback, they still heavily rely on the run. So we still have, a job to do, and that's stop the run, because we want to do that each and every week to try to make a team one-dimensional, because they thrive off the play action, the shots, a little bit of resemblance of the Rams offense. I know they have a Sean McVay disciple over there that was with them for a couple years and with the Rams, and you can kind of tell they're trying to implement some of the same things that those guys do in LA.
Yeah, to that extent, Patrick, how different is it to now see him under center more often and doing things like probably what you guys practice against with Kirk in that same vein of the offense?
Yeah, it definitely has a different touch to their offense this year. You definitely, like I said, they don't run the zone read. At least we haven't seen it as much as we did in the past. You rarely see Russell under center, so you see that a little bit more. But like I said, for the most part, if you look at the Rams and what they were able to do when they had Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, and all those guys, it gives you a resemblance of that. So it's hard to kind of, to study for those guys now because they're still in such a new offense, but we still have at least a little bit of the meat and potatoes, what they like to do thus far in the first 2 weeks of the season.
But Pat, isn't it, when you get a guy of that experience and that smarts and that acumen and still has a strong arm, he's dangerous that way, right? Because like you say, you can get him in crucial situations and he still makes those decisions, and when you have that experience and that success behind you, you're willing to take those chances.
Yeah, and Russ has had a ton of success in his career. Winning a Super Bowl, going to 2. So the guy knows how to win. And, we've been in a couple of those close games now when we used to play those guys in Seattle, coming out to Arizona. It was one game to where we couldn't even decide who a winner was. We had a draw. I believe that was in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So it's always a fun battle whenever I have opportunity to go up against Russ, because it's greatness right there in front of you each and every time you get an opportunity to line up across a guy like that. I put him in that same boat and era as that Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. He's in that type of company. How he's able to win the close games, how he's able to keep his teams in a position to win. And that's all you can ask for a quarterback. And he's been doing that at a high level for 10 years now.
Who's the toughest quarterback that you faced in your career?
It's probably him, because he presents so many different skill sets. Like I said, you may get a bunch of sacks on them, but the time that he is running around, you're holding your breath because you've seen it so many times, in NFC Championship games. I remember the game when we had the replacement refs, throwing a Hail Mary and Golden Tate catching the ball there. What some of the things they were able to do, to us while I was with the Cardinals, seeing, what he was able to do when he came here in that minus 20-degree weather game. You know what I mean? So the guy, he's a winner. He's a guy that's always, like I said, having his team in position to have success. He's been in the playoffs almost every year in his career. And, that's a recipe for a successful career, especially as a quarterback that's able to make the playoffs each and every year when you have, so many things come out about, being the most sacked in the NFL for the last 3 years, not having, the time of possession that they will want to have been the lowest, but those in the league this year. But those guys, it's either one or two things, that they're getting a ton of 3-and-outs or they're scoring points. And they're scoring points this year. So we have our hands full. We understand that. We just have to make sure that we're disciplined in our responsibilities throughout this whole game, and can't let anything slip by.
Patrick, you've obviously been in US Bank Stadium as the opposing team and then with the Vikings for preseason, but just, I guess, how excited are you guys to be at home now this week, and kind of what do you anticipate the atmosphere being like?
I'm very excited to come to the bank as a member of the Vikings for the first regular season home game. I played here in 2018 when they first opened the stadium, obviously on the visiting sideline, but the place was rocking, I expect it to be times 10 this Sunday. Obviously we have a 0-2 record. The fans are desperate for a win. We're desperate for a win. So we know that they're going to give us, all the energy that we would need and effect that we would need to have. Well, the effect that they bring, that can have on the offense to help us prevail out on plays and winning downs and ultimately winning the game. So I'm excited for the Purple Faithful and the Skull chants and all that stuff. So I'm very, very intrigued and excited to see how it's going to turn out Sunday.
Couple more, Pat. You mentioned the discipline you have to have on the back end. Is there anything with the technique that you have to emphasize when the quarterback can extend any play 5-6 seconds?
That's the toughest part about our job, because defense, at least, the defensive player's mindset is typically the quarterback gets the ball out in 4 seconds. And after that, we're pretty much at their mercy, because when you're watching film, you're studying film for a certain route. You're breaking on a certain route. Then after the quarterback extends the play, it's backyard football now. The receiver can run whatever he wants to run, And as a cornerback, if not the toughest job in the league, having to react to what someone's doing initially, and then now to be at their liberty when the quarterback is extending the play. They can run left, they can run right, they can run back, they can run forward. They have 4 different directions that they have an opportunity to go in while the quarterback is still scrambling. And on top of that, our back is 9 times out of 10 is facing the quarterback. So, only thing that we can do in that situation is try to strap our seatbelt with the receiver, because that's one of the hardest jobs to do, is trying to regain a certain leverage or get back in position to stop the ball when the receiver can kind of do whatever he wants to do versus you making him do what you want him to do, meaning studying film, being in the proper leverage, taking away his strong attribute in that certain route. Once the play break, now we're just holding on, hoping that we can guess where this guy's going.
Pat, it's such a rare situation that Justin Jefferson, after all the success he had last year, has not heard the home crowd, heard his name run through the tunnel. How weird is that? How are you guys forming? Do you remember when you had that first for you and what it was like?
Yeah, I definitely remember my first game. We was playing against the Carolina Panthers, and actually my year was kind of unique too because we was coming out of the lockout. So, going through the preseason, really wasn't any fans there, like talking about like a home regular season game. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, defense was announced that first game, and just to hear the eruption from the crowd, and just how excited, the energy that was in there, it was just unreal. And what people don't know, like, ball players thrive off that. That's a little piece of boost that we feel, that kind of enter our bodies, that electricity that's running through the building. We kind of feel like that runs through us as well. So last year it was definitely weird playing without a crowd, playing without the natural excitement. It almost felt like, literally practice each and every day, each and every Sunday when we went out there. But he's going to be juiced up. He's going to be fired up. And he's, obviously haven't had a year of it, but, he's played in big-time stadiums, big-time crowds, and I'm sure it won't be anything that he definitely don't want to miss again. So I'm excited that the fans are back. I'm excited that all the young guys get the opportunity to enjoy this. It's funny because I was asking Cam, I was like, and not even thinking, I was like, do your daughter go on the sidelines before the games? Because, here they give out sideline passes every once in a while. He was like, what you talking about? But not thinking that he was a rookie last year, and obviously we didn't have any fans last year. Like, oh, man, my bad. So he's looking forward to it as well. All the young guys are looking forward to it and seeing how electric the building is going to be, because Coach Zimmerman's talking about it all week. Defensive players, make sure we have our signals down pat because the bank will be loud. All right, guys, have a great day.